They promised me nostalgia and you gave me something else.
You know, if something, whether it's a movie, an epoch, a relationship, whatever, it dies with a whimper or it ends with a
Yeah.
whimper instead of a bang. The Switch 2 began with a whimper, but I got it as a future investment because I know there will be games coming out on it that I will play.
Yeah.
I remember it was announced back during E3 of 2017.
No way.
Yeah, and Disney is something that you get into as a child. I didn't really. I only ever saw The Lion King and Aladdin. They were like my two
Yeah.
that I watched as a kid, and then
They're
I just
great movies.
yeah, they are, yeah. But I never really watched any of the others.
This intro was found lacking. Yes, that was the sound of my toilet flushing. Now, onto the show.
Yeah, so we're going to swear or not, no?
Absolutely, yeah.
Fucking yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, great. So, all right, boys. So I'm Jer, and you are
Rob.
Hi, Rob. Okay,
Hello.
now you recently got a Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your Switch 2. Is it good? Is it class? Is it ass? What do you find lacking? Is it good? Tell me.
I suppose I would have to compare it to the launch of the first Switch, which I think is a fair way to start, and that would be that when the first Switch came out, there weren't that many launch titles, but everybody purchased it because they wanted to play Breath of the Wild.
There, yeah.
And that was an incredible game. I'll never forget the first few minutes of playing it. I was wowed because as soon as you leave the Shrine of Resurrection, you look out over Hyrule from the Great Plateau. And I remember looking in the direction of Death Mountain, and there was one of the divine beasts. I think it's Va Rudania, if I remember correctly. But you see this big lizard mech crawling around the mountain, and there was something that left a huge impression on me. It's like you've this enormous open world to explore, and I couldn't wait to start playing the game proper. And I played through the game twice, and I loved it. I think it's an incredible game. And that was my experience of the first Switch. Not only was the hardware something novel and quite incredible, but the software that came out on it as well was really impressive. So even though Breath of the Wild was available on the Wii U as well, nobody owned the Wii U and nobody cared about the fact that it was on the Wii U. The Switch was the new hot thing, and Breath of the Wild launched it into the stratosphere. Deservedly so, because I think the Switch system and Breath of the Wild were both incredible. Whereas the Switch 2, I got it day one, and I've barely played it since. And the reason, to be fair, the reason is I'm currently playing God of War Ragnarok on the PS5, and I'm still getting through that. But I got the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World. And I suppose in the interest of full disclosure, I would say I've never been a huge Mario Kart fan anyway. It's fine. I really enjoyed 8.
Fine.
Yeah, just fine. You'll have to deal with
Okay,
that.
right.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch was incredible. I really,
incredible.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
What a roster of characters.
Yeah,
An incredible amount of maps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I really, really enjoyed that.
Dense lore.
Talk about world building.
Whoa.
Oh. But Mario Kart World to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is exactly the same as the Switch 2 is to the Switch 1, which is a slightly different, souped up version that isn't different enough to get any bit excited about. Now, I haven't played the game that much.
Right.
Like I said, I'm currently playing a different game. I think the fact that I haven't played Mario Kart World all that much that speaks for itself. I just don't care. I got a Switch 2 for the games that are going to come out, which is why I think its launch was just boring.
Did you buy too early? Is there not enough hype for you? Is there not enough value in the console?
Right now, no. Right now. Well, it depends. If you didn't own a Switch 1, then get a Switch 2 for the upgraded Switch 1 stuff you can play on it.
Okay.
There are upgraded versions of a few games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and there's a few others, I think. But if you're getting a Switch 2, having already exhausted your experience with the Switch 1, I would say it's not worth it for the moment. Personally for me, Mario Kart World is not anywhere near enough to warrant getting the system in itself. Like I said, I'm going to play the Switch 2 later on when certain games come out. But right now, I've barely looked at it, and it's because Mario Kart World just isn't enough of a draw for me personally.
Okay, so you got Switch too soon. I personally, my stance on this is I have a Switch 1, but I also have two kids and I don't get to play it. So I have Tears of the Kingdom and I have Breath of the Wild and I have completed neither. I have done maybe 20 shrines maybe in the first one. I think that's Breath of the Wild. And I played the shit out of Mario Kart 8. And I have that Mario game where you take your hat off and throw it around. I think it's Odyssey.
Odyssey, yeah.
And I played that the remake of that Zelda game, the cute one. Is it Link's Awakening?
Yeah.
But that was really cute. I liked that, and I liked the thing with the island. I want to say
Animal Crossing.
Yes, I played a lot of Animal Crossing as well, but again, I don't get to play as many games now as I used to. I considered myself a Nintendo kid growing up, but I think that was because I was too broke to have anything PlayStation related until I had like grown up money. I had Nintendo 64 as a kid, and then I did get a Wii. And then I didn't touch Nintendo.
You and everybody else had a Wii.
But yeah. I missed out on Wii U and I missed out on GameCube. I had a classic Game Boy. I didn't have a Game Boy Color, and eventually somehow I got a Game Boy Advance. But I considered myself a Nintendo kid until I'd say around 17, 18 when I switched over to PlayStation, and then I didn't touch my Nintendo for a very long time. I got the Switch when I moved into the new house, and I played the Nintendo Switch. It's for the family-friendly gamers, right? There's no real violence on the Switch. The closest thing I would think of is like the Smash Brothers games, Smash Bros. But the rest of it is, and even that's so quirky and family friendly, and there's such like little nostalgia characters involved.
Yeah, the first party Nintendo games are not known for being violent or
even like the Zelda games where you're a dude running around with a sword for the most part. Like it's not like anyone gets bloodied up or badly beaten or broken. They're crack more than anything. It's an adventure game. Unlike you're mentioning something like God of War Ragnarok. So let me ask, have you aged out of those kid-friendly games? Is the Switch 2 for the mid-30s guy? Does that play into it?
I would say so. And I think the main reason is that there are certain things that Nintendo are very, very good at this, actually. There are certain things that tick as much of a box for kids as they would for adults.
Right.
The old classic Disney movies would absolutely be that.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they can be enjoyed as much by kids or adults. And in fact, in certain cases, they can be enjoyed more as adults.
Yeah.
And at the moment, as you know, I'm watching a lot of the older Disney films with my partner. And
that's because you didn't do those as kids.
Yeah, you see, I didn't watch them when I was a kid, so I'm exploring them now as an adult, as something for the two of us to do together, because she's huge into Disney. And I'm a little bit shocked, actually, at how much I'm enjoying them, because the aesthetic of the older animated Disney cartoons, it's very much associated with children, and Disney is something that you get into as a child. I didn't really. I only ever saw The Lion King and Aladdin. They were like my two that I watched as a kid, and then I just
great movies.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but I never really watched any of the others, so I was expecting not to enjoy them as an adult because I didn't have the nostalgia. But the latest one we watched was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah. And incredible. I absolutely adored it.
What's the villain song in that one?
Hellfire.
What an incredible piece of music as well, right?
That was one of the most hair-raising sections that I've watched in any Disney film. It's incredible, given the context of what's happened up until that point. And he starts singing and he confesses his love for Esmeralda. It's like, oh man, this character in this film just got a lot more complicated.
That's it. There's so much complication and depth to these characters they're just 2D pictures kind of come to life. There's a lot of personality in these movies.
Yeah, a lot.
And you're right, Nintendo does that well with their characters.
Yeah, so the point I was making is that I'm enjoying the Disney films as an adult, and I don't require nostalgia either to enjoy them. And I think Nintendo is very good at creating games that kids as well as adults can enjoy, and even adults can enjoy them without having to have experienced them as kids.
Yeah, very fair. Yeah. I recently started playing, like I do this continuously. I don't, right? For the record, I throw this thing on for every 20 minutes every so often. Like I've got that Nintendo Switch the online pack thing where you can
Yeah.
play the classic games.
Mhm.
So I'm like downloading all of these games and thinking I'm getting all this great value, but for the amount of time that I'm actually pumping into it, it's not there.
Yeah.
That being said, I went back and I absolutely smashed Banjo Kazooie
Yes. Yeah.
and Mario,
Mhm.
and I have some of those kind of games on the go. And I'm playing like I played Perfect Dark as a multiplayer. I never did that story. The
Mm.
other day I put it on. Now the controller is not friendly for it at all.
Yes. Yeah.
It
I
has
know.
it's dated and it's aged. But that was one of those games with Nintendo where I went, oh, this is actually pretty heavy.
Mm.
This is quite
Yeah.
good.
That was 18s, I think.
I think
When it came
so.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Definitely shouldn't have been playing it when I was not
You
18.
were
I
under
was
18. Yeah.
I was less than 18,
Mhm.
shall we say. So yeah, you're reckoning so that the Switch is it found lacking at the moment?
At the moment, I would say yes. The Switch 2 is it. There will come a time where it won't be, but for now, I would say it's not worth getting. It's like, if something, whether it's a movie, an epoch, a relationship, whatever, it dies with a whimper or it ends with a
Yeah.
whimper instead of a bang. The Switch 2 began with a whimper.
Okay.
Because a few people have asked me, is it worth getting? For instance, my partner's uncle, he has two small children, and he asked, should he get them a Switch 2 for Christmas this year? And essentially, I told him probably not until there are some more games available. Now, the Donkey Kong game is supposed to be very good.
Banana
Bonanza, yeah,
or
I like the
something.
title.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
clever.
That is very clever.
I think it's the same team that made Odyssey, so it's
Oh
kind
right,
of like
okay.
a Mario Odyssey effort, except it's Donkey Kong.
Sweet, yeah.
And I would like to try it out. It's just that at the moment I haven't had time between work and other life commitments and the fact that I'm already playing a different video game, but it's something I would like to get around to at some point. But when it comes to what the Switch 2 was like on day one, the fact that there was only really Mario Kart World.
What other launch titles were there for? Like, excuse my ignorance in this, but I'm just not up to date with what's going on with
But
video games right now.
we have that in common because I don't know what else there was to play on Switch 2
So the
day one.
advertising is definitely playing into this. That there's a lack of hype and
Yeah.
push of you don't even know what options are out there. So how do you know what value is?
Like
That's a
when
shame.
the Switch 2 came out, when the Switch 1 came out, it had Zelda. I mean, at the end
It's
of
a
the day,
staple for the franchise.
yeah, people are not going to buy a system for the system's sake. People are going to buy a system for the games they can play on it. And
Yes.
everybody got a Switch in order to play Zelda.
Yeah, the hype around that was immense.
Yeah. I wouldn't bother getting a Switch 2 to play Mario Kart World, especially if you have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already on the Switch, or even Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U.
Is this like you're kind of half cut and you're on your way home and you want McDonald's and someone says, but we have food at home. Like you already have Mario Kart at home and it's better for you and it's not going to cost you as much and it's.
I think like we have Mario Kart at home, or we have Batman at home, or we have whatever at home. Is like when you're talking about the Chinese knockoff version, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like in this case, it's not a knockoff version that you have at home. It's just that the new thing that you want isn't different enough, or isn't offering enough to warrant purchasing, in my opinion. Especially when there was the controversy surrounding Mario Kart World about its price point, which was, I think in the US it was in the US it was $80.
Wow.
I think. No, it was $10 more than whatever the regular expensive AAA game would be. So I think it was $80 instead of 70. But you see, the thing is, we've already been paying €70 over here for games for a long time. When Breath of the Wild came out 7-8 years ago, whenever it was, that was €70.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was whatever €20 more for the DLC.
I'm going to be disliked for this, but I'm going to absolutely stand to that though. The amount of value you get from this game, like a Zelda, something like that.
Yeah.
How many hours would it take you at work to earn that?
Yeah.
It's going to only a few, right? If you're lucky enough to have a job that takes care of you. But I know people who've put dozens, if not 100 or so hours into a game like that.
Yeah, and I have as well.
It's paid back tenfold.
Yeah.
So in a situation like that, I don't mind paying a premium price point for a premium product.
And I think that's the approach Nintendo are taking on it. They're they're pricing their games relative to how much work has been put into them and maybe how much replay value there is.
And a game like Mario Kart should have immense replay value. That should be something that you can just pick up and play. Anyone should be able to go. A makes it go. Does it cool? And now you're already racing.
Yeah.
Like, it should be that simple, right? You turn left when the course goes that way. How do I brake? How'd you do that? Like, it should be pretty easy to explain how to play something like that. Yeah, I think if you're saying that there's not a lot of value on launch, that's a pity, because I know that you're a staunch Nintendo man.
Yeah, I guess I'm an adult now. I'm working full time. I have disposable cash that I wouldn't have had when I was younger.
Right.
So a Switch 2 was something that I could afford to get on day one, even though I've barely played it since, but I got it as a future investment because I know there will be games coming out on it that I will play.
Yeah.
But it just so happens that the title, the launch title, was something that made me very much go, eh.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
It was. And, but, I'm not too caught up about it because my main excitement for Switch 2 moving forward is Metroid Prime 4. I think it looks quite good from the trailers, and I remember it was announced back during E3 of 2017.
No way.
Yeah, but there's been a kind of an odyssey of unfortunate circumstances surrounding that since. It was in development, I think, by Bandai Namco for a number of years, and then it was scrapped, and Nintendo had to release a press statement and everything saying that they had completely ceased development on the game and they were starting again from the ground up with Retro Studios. So there's been 2 games worth of development in this one.
Okay,
Metroid Prime
2017.
4 game.
Can I ask you to do something for me right now? Will you just tell me some news headlines and some stuff that happened in 2017? I want context for this.
Man, 2017.
What happened in 2017? Because it's going to be like Obama was in president.
Yeah.
There's going to be some stuff there. This game was announced in 2017, and you're still looking forward to it coming out.
Yes.
Is it coming out this year? Do you have a date for that?
No, it is supposedly coming out this year, but there's been no release date.
So it's going to be a Christmas present for yourself.
Something
like that.
I suspect probably November, December. It's going to be a Christmas game, I think. Yeah.
And is the Metroid franchise?
Okay, so this will be something to give context. Trump was inaugurated on January 20th, 2017.
Okay, yeah.
So,
the first time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so
there's
Metroid Prime 4 has been announced roughly as long as Trump's presidency. Unless I'm misunderstanding.
And you're still waiting. So, but okay, here's my question for you now, as someone who I only really know Samus from Smash Bros. So, what's the deal with Metroid Prime 4? Do you have to play 1, 2, and 3 to get to 4? I
have no idea. It's a good question. I suppose, I was always a little bit concerned that it was Metroid Prime 4 as opposed to a new 3D Metroid that was telling its own story or that was going in a different direction, because having it be Metroid Prime 4 is a bit too safe. I would rather if they took more of a gamble, and instead of it being a sequel to Metroid Prime 3, which came out in 2007, I believe. So that is
here
18 years ago.
No, there's kids out there drinking that are...
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
I work with fellas born in 2007.
Exactly. So it's that long ago since the third one came out, which was a Wii title. To release a sequel...
a Wii title?
Yes, Wii.
Oh my god,
Wii.
Okay, so not the Wii U and not Switch.
Correct, yeah. Now there have been HD remasters of the trilogy prior to this, but Metroid Prime 3 was first released in 2007, I believe, anyway, without looking it up. So we're here 18 years later, waiting for the fourth one, and
people are giving GTA 6 slack for taking a while to arrive.
Yeah, true. It's the Elder Scrolls 6 that I've been waiting on for a very long time.
Wow, you're not happy with playing Skyrim again, no?
God, one of the myriad editions of it.
Well, I bought that game on 4 different consoles for sure.
Yeah, you and everyone else.
Sure,
I think
yeah.
everyone has multiple copies of Skyrim at this point.
Yeah. Some down the back of the couch and forgotten about it.
So yeah, looking forward to Metroid Prime 4. And
is it a strong enough title for new people though? Like if you're saying Mario Kart isn't enough to,
it's just not enough for me. It's a personal thing.
But this is the thing, you're actually into Metroid.
Yeah.
I would stand on Metroid being one of the smaller franchise players for Nintendo. Like,
yeah,
we know of Samus largely through the Smash Bros. Games. Yeah. I know that there's been iterations of Metroid, but it's like they're not your, you're gonna hate this, but they're not your like GOAT level Avengers. She's kind of a couple of tiers down.
No, you're
for me.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, Metroid isn't really a huge seller for Nintendo.
No, so is there has there been any announced Zeldas, Mario's, or Pokemon? Because to me, those are the three big Nintendo franchises. Yeah. And like, what's the future look like for those?
Pokemon, I'm not sure. I was never much of a Pokemon fan, so I don't really keep up to date with what's going on there. But as for Mario and Zelda, they've been conspicuously absent from anything Nintendo has talked about for the last, couple of years, I suppose. So that's another reason why I say that I only got the Switch 2 for games that will be coming out, because whatever the new Zelda is, I'm going to want in on that straight away. Same with Mario. Mario and Zelda would be my two big Nintendo IPs, as I think it probably is with most people. But there's been nothing Zelda or Mario on the Switch 2 yet.
But they also probably don't need to, because they're still selling premium priced copies of the previous games. Because the thing with like we talked about, like with Disney and with fans of Nintendo, those products, they remain evergreen. There's always going to be someone born who's going to age into discovering those, and they have the option of discovering older and older consoles. And when you take something like the Switch Online expansions, where you can go back and play the Zeldas from the Game Boy, the Advance, the NES, and whatever, all the way along, you can get the lore, you can dip into that, so you don't have to create something new. An argument could be made for taking a break from creating the new and going back and continuing to remaster some of these things that were incredibly fun adventures, but they just don't hold up visually anymore.
And what I think is so ridiculous when you bring up that point, I'm all for companies making remasters of their old games as well, and I'm absolutely enslaved to remasters of old games that I enjoy. If there's a game I played as a kid that's being remastered now, I will get it. I will play it again, because I like going down memory lane, and nostalgia has a hold on me. But
the thing is, I think that when you were a kid, because it was the peak of graphics then, you forgave a lot more. But now you'd actually see it really the way you thought you saw it then. That makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean.
You're filling in the gap in the pixels that weren't there, but like, no, this is how I always saw it.
Yeah, but to continue on that point you brought up, what I think is so frustrating with the GameCube addition to the Switch Online is it came out with a few games, one of which was the Wind Waker, and Wind Waker is one of my favorite games ever. I think it's incredible, but still, the definitive way to play Wind Waker, in my opinion at least, is on the Wii U, because that has the Wind Waker HD remaster. The one that is now playable on the Switch is the far older, far more dated original GameCube version, which I cannot figure out that decision.
So they didn't give you the best copy of the game?
No, absolutely not, because I tried out playing the Wind Waker on the Switch Online service, and I'm kind of hesitant to even get into it, because I know that if I start playing it on the Switch, I'll constantly have this voice niggling at the back of my head saying, why don't you just haul out your Wii U and play the HD remaster, because it's far better, it's far smoother, it looks far superior, It's in a widescreen aspect ratio. It's just everything about the HD remaster, in my opinion, is better. Yet they gave us the nerfed one.
That does sound like a complete oversight and a shame, but someone made that as a conscious decision, really, realistically.
I mean, I know that if they have a GameCube Virtual Console thing, that they want to have the original GameCube games available, but if you already have a HD remaster of one of those games,
it exists.
Just sell us that one again, because, like I said, nostalgia has a grip on me. I would buy the HD remaster of Wind Waker if it was available to buy on the Switch.
So let me ask you a question now. If we've decided that so far, in theory, you have decided Switch 2 has been found lacking, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Let me look at this from one more angle, okay? I have a Switch, and I pay for that online subscription, and I go as far as the Nintendo 64. We don't get the GameCube aspect on Switch 1. What could they release from that generation, from the GameCube to Switch 2, that would make you go, no, actually, this is worth it? So if enough people right now said, you know what, and they told their partners, uncles, don't get that for your kids because it's not there yet, what could they give you from the GameCube that would make you go, no, that was cool? Are you talking like there was Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario, that was 1,000 Year Door, I think was on there? Like, is there games of that generation that you would go, oh, actually, if they gave us that, I'd not only get the console, but I'd pay the monthly?
Yeah, sure. Straight away, what comes to mind for me is Smash Bros. Melee.
Oh, God, okay,
that was one of my defining childhood games. But I suspect the reason that maybe that isn't going to happen is there's probably some silly licensing issue where, I mean, Melee had 25 characters, I think. There's probably one or two of those from some IP that they don't technically own, and as a result of that, they can't release the game at all. I could be wrong about that, but that's my suspicion. Like, we didn't get on the Nintendo 64 Virtual Console. I know it's not called Virtual Console, but
no, that makes sense to me.
Is that from the Wii days? But anyway, the reason we didn't get Smash Bros. 64 or Super Smash Bros. I think as it was called on the Nintendo 64 Virtual Console either, and that's a shame because I would have played that. And I don't know I don't know what the reason is that they didn't give us the original Nintendo.
Was there a crossover character from a different?
I don't think so.
Maybe they sold the rights to
possibly. Yeah. They gave us all these other really weird games.
Do you remember when the Wii had the remake of GoldenEye?
Oh yeah, I didn't play it, but I remember when it was a thing.
I remember being so hyped for that, and the idea that you could point and shoot and everything yourself, and they were going to add extra bits and everything. And if I'm honest, no, it wasn't good. And part of it, for me, it wasn't Pierce Brosnan. They didn't have
Daniel Craig.
They didn't have his image rights or whatever. There's some decisions were made along the way where they promised me nostalgia and you gave me something else.
Yeah, okay.
And it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah, that's a weird decision on their part. Yeah.
It might have been brilliant, but if you were at a restaurant and you ordered a ham and pineapple pizza, and they came out and gave you a really nice pepperoni pizza, thanks, but like what?
Thanks, yeah, it's not what I asked for.
That's unusual, and I've always found that as a strange decision. So I wonder, is there something like that with the Switch 2 and those games that maybe they don't have those? Was Double Dash the GameCube?
Oh, that was incredible. I loved Double Dash.
That's something I think. If you could do Double Dash online maybe with your friends through your virtual console, that might be enough to get a few of the people that I know hyped on it.
Like, coming back to Mario Kart again, though, what I find a little bit odd is, well, no, maybe it's not that I find it odd. It's just my own personal experience is such that while I have the disposable cash now as an adult who's working to afford the Switch 2 day one, there's so many other things competing for my time now, and I don't even have a family yet. I know you do, but yes, I can afford the Switch 2 financially. I can't really afford the time to play it, though.
You build it.
And something like Mario Kart World, there's this trend in gaming which is becoming ever more worrying, that games have to be bigger and longer and more expansive than ever before. And I find it's at odds with the demographic of players that are mostly playing video games now, which would be men like us, let's say in their early mid to mid-30s, that profile of person probably has the least amount of time available to them than they've ever had.
Yes.
So I don't want super long, super expansive games. I want something that's 15 hours, that's short, that's sweet, that's told well, and is done.
You're speaking my truth here. Give me sandbox, give me linear storylines. I don't want massive multiplayer online games anymore.
No.
I have friends that are in their 30s and 40s and they can't wait for the latest Black Ops game. And I'm like, I don't get that anymore. Like, to me, that was fun in the past. But right now, you give me a plot. You give me, like, if I get a feeling that my decisions actually impacted the characters around me and the narrative going forward, I love that. I don't need big and big and big. And on all of that, I want to go back to, you love Breath of the Wild. Is that game not too big? For me, do you know what it was? It's Netflix. It's the Disney Plus library. I have too many choices. We've spoken about this in the past. Having too many choices, sometimes you fall back and you just go back to what's easy and what's convenient, what you know and what you can trust. And for that reason, I'm probably going back and playing some of the nostalgia games, or I browse for so long, I now don't have the time to actually invest into a story on a game, or a TV show, or whatever it might be. I'm at the stage where my free time is so incredibly limited. Do I want to take the risk and play something that is ultimately shit? Or do I want to go, do you know what? I know I really want to go pick up that penguin in Mario and I want to drop that penguin. And you know exactly what penguin I'm talking about.
But it's like, I totally agree with what you're saying, because when you look at the kinds of video games and movies that tend to do well, they're always remakes or sequels, or they're familiar enough to people that people are willing to invest their time. Whereas if it's something completely new, people are going to think like, oh, I don't know what this is, and I don't know if I'm willing to invest the time into this, when it might be something that I end up not enjoying.
There's a fear.
Yeah.
And I think for me, a lot of that fear comes from, yes, I have the expendable cash, or if I have the expendable time, do I want to risk that as an investment in this, and will I get enough of it back that I think that was worth it? Because I think, to be honest, I've bought a lot of games that were duds, and I've put countless hours into, I'm of the generation where I put countless hours into albums by musicians or bands, and that was the only money I had, and I spent it on that album, and it turns out it was that artist's worst album. I listened to that till I learned to love it, because that was the album I had.
That's what you had, yeah.
But that's what I did with video games as well, to a point. I'm sure if I went back now and I looked at some of the games I played as a kid, I'd go, oh my god, this was so bad, and this doesn't actually hold up in the slightest.
Yep.
But at the time, it was what I had. It's what I got lost in. It was my world for that amount of time. And I love it for that. And maybe that's a leave the memories alone kind of thing. Maybe not everything should be retouched and remastered.
But what I've noticed as well, sitting down and watching the older Disney cartoons, what always arrests my attention every single time is, you know, when you're watching something, you can see the progress bar and it tells you how much time is left and what the total runtime is. All these older Disney cartoons, they're like 90 minutes. It's absolutely
perfect,
incredible, because we sit down to watch a film late at night. We both had a day of work. We both spent time making dinner, and we're just exhausted. To sit down and watch a film that's 90 minutes long, that makes me think, oh yeah, I can probably get through this before I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Great. So it's like, it feels like I've come full circle in a way, because as a kid, these films have to be 90 minutes long because your attention span isn't developed enough to go past that. Then as like a teenager and a young adult, you can stomach the movies that are 2.5 or 3 hours long, because
you search them out.
Well, yeah, but it's because you have the energy and because you've nothing else going on in your life. At least that was the case for me. Whereas now, as an adult who's working, it's not necessarily the case that I don't have the interest. It's just that I don't have the energy and I don't have the time. So as a kid, I needed movies to be 90 minutes long because I didn't have the attention span. Whereas now, I need films to be 90 minutes long because I don't have the energy. And that is why I will happily watch one of the older Disney cartoons that's 85, 90 minutes long, as opposed to the new live action remake of that film that's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. Let's save that for another time because,
Yeah, sure.
my God, those have. Yeah, I've thoughts on those.
Yeah.
So, Rob, I really have to ask you, in your opinion, Switch 2, where are we? What have we decided? Is it ass? Is it class? Have you found it lacking? What are your thoughts?
At the moment, it's definitely found lacking because I bought it day one. I've played it for fewer than 10 hours, probably. I've played more. What I've played most of on the Switch 2 is the GameCube Virtual Console F-Zero.
Wow, okay.
Mario Kart just isn't doing it for me, personally. But that's not a surprise. I picked up the Switch 2 because of games that I knew I wanted to get later on. Mario Kart was just the game that came with the bundle, and I'm not all that interested in it, really. So it's found lacking from that point of view, because I want my Zeldas, I want my Marios, I want my Metroids. They're all coming, but they're just not here.
You want the top tier characters. They're not available yet.
Yeah. Mario Kart isn't a system seller for me, ironically enough, considering I bought the system with Mario Kart, but I barely played the system because the only game really on it at the moment is Mario Kart.
It's an interesting one because Mario Kart is, I mean, that's a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be playing that on your own, there's less crack to be had.
Which I never play online. I never.
No, I someone's cheating somewhere. They're going to hurt my feelings. I don't need that.
Something like that.
I don't need that. Yeah, but I always find a multiplayer game like that is better in person, a couple of people around the screen.
For sure.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
That's better.
Yeah.
But we are also at the age where if you were to reach out to me and be like, hey man, we're going to have a Mario Kart party at my house, that becomes an event. I have to
have to plan ahead of the. You have to plan like a month in advance.
I need childminders and stuff. Do you know, I'm at that stage, and it better not be a weekday. What are you thinking? I have to be up 4:30 tomorrow morning.
That's the problem. Yeah,
it's wild. So yeah, it's a huge investment financially for something that you have yet to reap that back from. Yeah,
and that's a good point. Actually, it's very expensive financially. It was 500 odd euro or something. Significantly more expensive than the Switch one.
That's a huge price point for something that it's under delivering.
It's under delivering for me.
Yeah, but under delivering for you. But on top of that, if you want to make that delivery, you said that it's the GameCube games you're playing more, so you have to pay a monthly subscription on top of that to find your value.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a while before you really feel that back catalog can't be big because they add new ones every so often.
There's only like 4 or 5 games on it, and the offerings are quite paltry.
And it's a strange one because for you, that's the big selling point because you're getting your nostalgia kick from those games. But the kids that are going to ask for that for Christmas, they're not getting a Switch 2 for Wind Waker. They're not doing that. You know what I mean? They're not buying F1. They're buying it for the new Mario Kart, which is, as you say, found lacking.
To sum it up, the reason why I'd consider Switch 2 at the moment to be found lacking is you better really, really love Mario Kart. Otherwise, I don't see the point. Now, maybe the Donkey Kong game it's been getting stellar
reviews. It's going to be
bananas. Oh, he said it. But yeah, apart from Mario Kart, the Switch 2 has had nothing really to recommend it.
That's a shame.
But I'm sure that'll change.
There's a smell of Dreamcast off of how you're explaining this to me, to be honest. I haven't smelled the Dreamcast in a while, but there's a smell of Dreamcast off it.
We all remember that.
So, all right, thanks, man. I think we're going to wrap that one up. I hope people found something entertaining in all of this. And if not, then you found us lacking, and I'm okay with that. Again, I'm Jer, and this is Rob. He said it very quietly. He's beautiful, by the way. I wish there was a video for this.
Don't be ridiculous.
No, I will be. All right, thanks very much, man, and we'll do another one of these next week, hopefully.
See you next time.
Bye.